Hi everyone, back with more Obduction. This will be part 3. Right, so far we found some bits of paper up here which we took pictures of, and obviously we moved go around here. There was a lift with the blue laser, so we made that go down to there, and I think we need to find some sort of battery or something to go into there. So when the last video finished, I was going to head over to here. So let's go and have a little look over here. So that's the water. So can we? I don't know if there's anything in there. So can we? Nope, can't go over there. Wow, that's another big. There's a crane or something. That is. So. Have I done everything that I needed to do in here? I might go back and have a see if I can check that CW again, because I mean we've got the the blue laser is now down there, so I don't know what that didn't he say something? I wonder if we can talk to him again.
We ain't making further progress till you disable that red Mofang beam. You're gonna have to get through the wall of this cell.
Okay. Now, if memory serves, he said something about Farley's house number backwards was the code to a door. Or a code to something anyway. So that'd be 6341. Well, let's take a picture of that and work out what we're supposed to do with this red beam. I must be missing something over here. Well, I can't get to that red beam now because I diverted the water to go through there, which I had to do. Okay. I have to get through the wall of this cell. Okay, let's have a little. Let's go back round to where the sphere and all that was, and see if there's missed anything around here. Right, so got the Farley's house, tower, CW, sphere, tunnel. Tunnel. Where was through there? Right. There's that. So right, let's 6, 3, 4, 1. 6, 3, 4. Ooh. Okie dokie. Looks like someone's house. Creepy. Welcome to Hunrath. Please give us a bit of information about you so we can get to know you a little better. Name, date you came from, please use 4-digit year. Where you came from. So this is a bit... hang on over here. 2017 was the year. Samuel Kaysen, is that? Madagascar. That's where you came from, country and city. Same as under which you were taken. I had just arrived and was driving my supply truck along the coast south of Manakana, what I recall being washed away and the seed appeared. My boat in a bad storm. Right, do we need to? We better, just in case, take pictures. I think it's best to take pictures of everything. Oh wow, okay, cemetery. So, it's a cemetery behind Farley's house. I'll take a picture of that as well. Battery shop, CW's, wall, tower, rail yard. So we've just come through the rail yard. Okay. Okie dokie, let's have a look. $15 is I should document the curious events that have conspired. Myself, my family, friends, and co-workers. It was a peaceful morning. Town founded by my grandfather and nestled within. I can barely read it. Okay, let's just take pictures of all of these before we do anything else. So these are just transcripts of what happened. Wow. Wow, okay, this looks a bit more interesting. Mofang were the first non-human species humans were introduced to. A Liang was the first to call the alien a Mofang. Impressed with their advanced ability to imitate our sound, movements and mannerisms, although they have a name for themselves, their language is mostly unpronounceable by humans. As a result, and because of their mimicry abilities, communication with the Mofang is primarily accomplished by their learning human languages rather than humans learning to speak Mofang. They have been able to learn almost every human language represented in Hunrath, enough to provide functional, if rudimentary. Eyes, nostrils, other external features include minimal body hair, raised dorsal protrusions. Constitution is somewhat frail, due apparently to their thin and lightweight internal structure, but internal investigation has not been possible. They have ample cranial space to account for a substantial brain, and their intelligence is impressive, as evidenced by their advanced technology. So that is a Mofang. After a certain level of maturity and health of the tree, a passage opened at its base. Right, so we need to get into the tree. This passage allowed contact with 2 additional species. The first contact was with the array. The first contact revealed the array to be large beetle-like insects. Right. We were unable to communicate directly with them in any way, but they appeared to have some rudimentary level of intelligence. It was ironic. Well, must be a source for someone's name. Who first made the journey through the heart to Kaptar and named both the New World and the inhabitants. The array have 3 distinct variants that have come to be referred to as barnacle beetle and polyarch, although their morphology is obviously a bit missing now. In the barnacle stage, the array are completely immobile. The array stay in the egg-like development state, seemingly indefinitely. In order to hatch, they must be in proximity of the polyarch and fertilized by the beetle after a certain stage of maturity. The beetles are the eyes and ears, hands and feet, with only a minimal nervous system of their own. They are essentially the sensory extensions of the immobile polyarches. They are able to execute simple commands, but apparently have very little in the way of individual sentence. Ugh, okay. Wow. Lots of reading. The array polyarches are the intelligence and consciousness of the species, although it was obvious that there was intelligence behind the species. It wasn't until Caroline Farley began spending large amounts of time in their proximity that deeper communication began. With a room nearby, Farley was the first to communicate non-verbally and learn much about the species, including some historical information. The array species survived in their world, while several other sentient species came and went. Among them, an ancient species who formed a deeper relationship with the array, carving temples and dwellings for them in the rocks, and later a more recent. Well, none of these I want to be bumping into. Villain. The final species to be discovered was the villain. The villain had been communicating with the array for many years through ambassador seeds, but became part of the larger community very shortly after the array. With a large and imposing frame and a form of communication based on a complex multi-voice low-frequency rumble, the initial introductions were intimidating. After several attempts, Amélie Vidal was able to begin some rudimentary communication and began visiting the villain in Marais, which she named, on a regular basis. She discovered a complex and amazing society that was able to use. Unlike the other words, the villain sphere is scooped out of a villain resettlement group that was preparing to set off into space to find a new homeworld. This was their way of life, to put themselves into status and scatter themselves throughout the stars. As mentioned previously, their appearance is imposing, standing about 9 feet tall with a distinct reptilian resemblance. They have 6 limbs, 2 muscular legs and arms, and a smaller set of arms. They control every aspect of their technology with their vocalizations, but over the years they have created control panels based on their number system that allow other species to. Wow. That seems to be it. So, pictures. Because I am bound to forget. Well, all of that. So I don't know how many pictures you can take, but I'm hoping it's a lot. More. We take communication for granted, even with the varied languages we find here in Hunra. But when we suddenly find ourselves among other intelligent species who don't share our culture, history, DNA, or vocal cords, it requires a huge amount of effort for the beginning of rudimentary chatting. This quick overview will set the stage for what to expect when communication with our neighbours. The Mofang were the first non-humans we met with at least some level of similar physical, vocal generating abilities. They picked up human words quickly. This early mimicry resulted in what the species became to be called, even though they were able to mimic single words and simple phrases. It became evident over the years that huge grammatical differences were not easily overcome. Some have proposed that the difficulty may have arisen because the Mofang insisted on attempting to learn every human language, and as a result were never able to lock onto any consistent grammatical structure. Nevertheless, despite of the rudimentary sentence construction, it has been very easy to The Verlaine presented a particular communication challenge from what we can gather. They produce sounds using two large reed-like structures inside opposite sides of their heads. The vibrations generated are channeled to resonate chambers in their skulls, where they are combined into complex low-frequency dual tone. The low-frequency bitonal sounds are not only hard for humans to hear and resolve, but impossible for us to mimic, and the Verlaine's hearing is also orientated towards low frequency, so they are unable to hear most of the sounds associated with human speech. Therefore, communication with the Verlaine has relied on technology. They have adopted consoles. Some higher frequency characteristics of certain key Verlaine words over the years, and although we can't speak to them in a way that the Verlaines can understand, we are occasionally able to hear and recognize these words when spoken distinctly by the Verlaine. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the Verlaine, please contact Vito. None of the stages of the array morphology have any vocalization apparatus because of the obvious synchronization of the barnacle flash and the ability of the pawns to provide for and address the needs of the polyarches. It was assumed that the species could communicate effectively. It was not until Farley began to spend large amounts of time in the polyarch and antechamber. Oops, didn't want to do that, did I? That the first clues to the communication became evident. After months of research, Farley began to have limited success with receiving some kind of simple messages that were coming from the polyarches. It was apparent now for the polyarches had been... Why are we missing the bottom part of this? To listen, both the polyarches and the pawns have a simple organ that can sense human vocal frequency, enabling them to send simple responses with humans, but over the years Farley was able to learn to speak to the polyarches via a related form of extrasensory transmission. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the array, please contact Farley. Right, well that seems to be that. I don't know whether I need to be reading all of this out, but oops, wrong button. I probably don't need to be reading this all out, but seed information. Wow. Right. I think what we'll do is we'll just take pictures of everything. Can't get in drawers because the videos are gonna be really long if I have to read everything. Whoops, wrong button. Right. Is that right? What's it got going in there? I need to go and see what I'm doing. Okay, let's. I've done nothing. Okay, let's. Well, hang on, that looks like to be the outside of Farley's house. That can't be right. Can't hear nothing. We always have to rewind it, don't we?
Well, I feel like I should say something. We haven't heard from Shavar. So, well, so we assume that Shavar, well, the attack is inevitable. We just don't know when. So, Shavar and her family, and others she trusts, I guess, well, they'll arrive when they can, without giving, like covertly. So the plan will happen. In spite of our, we're locking down as much as possible here and moving everybody out. CW will stay here, and I'll go to Murray at the last possible moment. Most are gone. There's just a few left here now. The mayor got out early. I don't even know why I'm recording this. It's like somehow we'll live on or something. I guess this has meaning if someone listens, but who? A new one? A new arriver. Oh, God, the kiosk out front. I need to update that message.
Okay, so that was it? Right, well I can't keep it. And, oops. Oh. Ah.
We all lost everything. Everything but our stories. And they shouldn't be forgotten. I was 3. It was April of 1983. Cecil, it was 1870 for you. Sam and Vera, you tell it like it was yesterday, but it's been 62 years since you saw that blast of light. And that's where all of our news stories began. That light.
This is what we heard when we first
streaked across the sky.
started.
Mesmerizing, but unnerving. Some of you were alone. I wasn't. My dear grandma, God bless her, rejoiced as if it was some forebearer of good fortune. Vera, you said you recall smiling. None of us understood. But, well, we followed. Whether it was in the deep woods like Cecil or right outside town like Jane and Jenny, we were drawn to see more. Grandma lifted me from the carriage on the porch and walked into the yard so we could watch it unobstructed. Even in daylight, Joseph, you said it was gloriously bright. But in the twilight, it was spellbinding. And we all felt some kind of trepidation and yet attraction as we approached it, and it approached us. So close, so radiant, and that sound, deep and vibrant, organic. You all remember, there was no turning away. It advanced, almost like purposefully spinning slowly until, well, it found us, each of us. We should tell these stories because it saved us, and there must be more.
I was watching the sunrise.
It was about 2:30 in the morning.
December 26, 1948. May 7th, 2009. September 3rd, 1995.
I was down by the river.
I was hiking in the desert, in the park with my grandson. I looked up and saw a brilliant flash of light that exploded in the sky. The light, it climbed to the clouds and behind some trees and
It disappeared. I looked around and, to see.
see if there was anyone around. See if anyone else had seen what I had seen.
There was no one around.
They all saw it too. Bob definitely saw it. Well, it was just beautiful. There was something calming about it.
Yeah, I don't mind telling you, I was kind of freaking out.
I tried to follow it, tried to get a better look at it. Wanted to see it again. I came to a place where it had disappeared, overlooked, but I found nothing. And it streaked through the sky again. It seemed like it was looking for something, or looking for someone. And then it found me. And it found me. Found me.
It found me.
Found me.
Found me.
Found me. And it found me.
Okay, right. What was that? Koala bear. Right. Okay, so that's a bit weird. There's a window up this thing. Is there stairs somewhere? That's really weird. Right, well, I think what we'll do is we'll end this episode here, and we'll pick it up again in the next episode. That's, well, baffled me a bit, but yeah, we're getting it's all getting very, very interesting now. So yeah, so like I said, we'll pick this up in the next episode, and thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.